Hello again. This is page. I don't know what page this is. I got started without really. Okay, so this is going to be. So this is going to be page 16 in part one. Um, it just feels like there's been a lot of distractions lately. So these videos, as distracting as it is to the work itself, it does seem to hold my feet to the fire and and like stick here and like get a full page done before I break. So I may end up doing more of these, not less, just to sort of keep me just to keep me focused right now. And I think and you can be sure, like I'll probably, um, um, I'll probably like sit here and like kind of go into the whining and the complaining, but and this will probably go off on all kinds of tangents. So, but for better or for worse, this is page 16, and we're still in part one. But it's not. It hasn't been all like procrastination. I do have to admit, I think trying to fit this story in with the trying to make this story fit with the events of the previous stories, I think has been sort of like slowing down the work a little bit. Um, and I don't know why, but this was one page I wanted to, so I ended up like procrastinating until I could get a free moment to like actually make this video for this page. But I think this page is show you exactly like what is going on with this story, because I'm doing this scene. Basically at this point, this is um, going to be where they get introduced to the idea of the neighborhood watch that Tyler set up. I know, even though like we've already got this scene before, it's the idea is because these stories are like a running concurrent, and two, I sort of don't want to skip over details in case you're reading this one first instead of the other three. If, like, for whatever reason you grab this story, I want you to be able to know what's going on without having to pick up the other three first. So the challenge with this one is like basically going back into the other three stories and trying to match up the scene. And this page is from the first book, Corey, where you just sort of get this introductory exchange where there's like this one page introduction to the character of Tyler into this universe. And you sort of get this introduction of the two kids meeting Tyler. This scene in this book was kind of designed to just bring the characters into the story. So it was basically just a one page introduction. But then you come over to this was from Tyler's story where I flesh out the scene. So, it starts off with the same conversation. And, somewhere around here is where Corey kind of drops out of the conversation to take the phone call. But the idea here is that while he's taking that phone call, these three are going on with the conversation. So here's like the next page where they're talking about it. And it kind of wraps up on the third page. So I'm coming in and taking it from their point of view. And the temptation, I can't say temptation, but one of the possibilities was to sort of select images that were already made for this story and sort of reorganize the text to make it a little different. Because what I want to do with this fourth story, Rusty and Elliot, is kind of introduce this, but condense it down so I'm not wasting 3 pages on a plot point. So this whole scene is going to be trimmed and boiled down to basically 1 page. And I think to keep it interesting and to keep the focus on them, I'm reorganizing it. So I ended up restaging the scene, and I'm going to have Tyler's opening line um, from Elliot's point of view. So we're going to go File, Open as Layers. I'm going to bring in the picture. And let's go Layer, Scale. I've been talking about that now. I gotta remember what the heck I'm doing here. I mean, this picture is a little weird, but I think it gets the point that I'm trying to make. Edit, cut. And see, I think I talked about way back in, when I was the earliest videos of from the Shrimp at the House Showtime series, is that like you want the 2 sides of the page sort of directing your attention toward the middle for the most part. It doesn't always happen, but you see kind of like his gaze is going this way, Tyler's gaze is going this way. So in the next panel over here, it's going to be, I think, Elliot's gaze going this way. But anyway, so I've got the picture. And now since I'm just basically going to cut and paste text, okay, here we go. So this was page 13. So I've got to open up page 13 from Tyler's story, and that was book 1, page 13. We open that up. I don't think I need to take the page from Corey's story. I think I can just work here. So let's zoom in so I can see what I want. And again, because I'm not rehashing Tyler's story, I'm going to actually like trim what we're doing. So I take this. And I'm just going to copy the first line. I don't need the second one. And actually, I think that was all that we saw in. Yeah, see, just like in Corey's story, all you get is the first line, and the second was added for Tyler's story. So I'm going to sort of do the same thing. Where's my? Okay, so, whoops. So Control V to paste that. Okay. Now we need a word bubble. Let's try this one. Control C, and we go edit, paste as new layer. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. And let's bring you. And before I go, so I think essentially what I'm going to do with this page is take the first line from here. Some skinny little jerk broke into my apartment yesterday. And in the next panel, it's going to be Elliot using this line. Maybe it's the same guy who broke into my place. And then we're just going to fast forward to the third panel with Tyler asking the question, what is this place coming to? And then I think we're going to condense this for the bottom half of the piece. So we're going to cut this down. Edit, paste as new layer. Let's grab that. That's lined up, right? Yep, okay. So merge that down. And we will cut, select none, edit, paste as, come on, new layer. That looks good, right? Yeah. And now I can kind of move this so it'll look better. Let's see, centered. Okay, so now let's come back here. Whoops, go to this page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I don't need to match it exactly, but I kind of want it close. So I'm going to try. Let's try and redo. I'm not sure why I didn't. Not sure why I didn't do this when I was doing the scene in when I was working on the first story, Corey. Because actually, these pages, that one, this one, and these two panels, I actually created when I was doing that first story, when I was doing Corey's story, because I knew I wanted to expand on this for Tyler's story. So that was that was an example of some where I kind of worked ahead of myself. Whereas normally I take these in sequence. So let's, and then we gotta bring him in. Okay. Let's, okay. Head is tilted the other way, so whoops. Or not the other way, but and actually we need it upward. It's gotta be upward because it's the little guy looking up to him. And how about this? And additionally, there's a flaw in the image applied to the sky. I'm not sure if you see this line here. That's actually a flaw with the image. This sky isn't actually a where are we? That's not actually a just a basic color. I think I like one day I ended up I took a camera outside and actually did take pictures of the sky, and this the image I use here actually happened to be a clear day and the sky actually that's actually what the sky looks like. So here's my sky sphere day, and when I go to tile this, I have no idea why. Um, I have no idea why it gives me, or why it's not filling the. One option would be just to rotate the sphere so that, see, like that. I could just do that. But it's like if I could fix that line so I don't actually see it, that would be better. But, we're just going to do that. Um, and I think in keeping too with what I've done, normally I've blanked out the exterior buildings, rendered this in layers, and then sort of blur all this. So you get a you sort of get like that depth of field look. But I think because I see so little of it, no, you know what? I was going to let it slide because you're going to see so little of this building. It's probably a waste of effort. But now that I mention it to you guys, now that I said something, it sticks out in my mind. So I'm going to actually go ahead and render this in layers. So let's blank out the outdoor. We will renumber this to 24A, and we will render that. Let's see. One of those things I'm only doing because I mentioned it to you guys. But, the other thing with sort of trying to match these scenes up after the fact is it's not just about positioning the characters, but I've also got to go back and, where are we? And try to match up the background as well. And I don't see it in this one, so I'm going to come back to the page from Corey's story. And if you see behind Corey, the display rack with all the protein on it, I think throughout his story, I was making more and more of the canisters invisible to give you the idea that people were buying the protein, buying his supplements as the story goes on. And I think there was even a mention in his story where he suspected people were only buying because they felt bad for him. So with each consecutive story, every time I revisit scenes at the desk, I've got to do my best to make sure that the missing bottles match up with the particular day that the scene is supposed to take place. Additionally, and this was one I had with the previous page on page 15. I'm in the wrong book for that. Come on. Which is okay. Let's go to Tyler's story since it's going to lock up there. But this too is why why if like you're watching the weird little elements outside of the work, why the clock seems to be moving a lot faster than the progress. But sort of with the previous page on page 15, I had the kids dealing with the break-in that they're talking about now. So every time I match up scenes, I have to do my best to make sure clothes match as well. And it's usually these detectives that are the pain in the butt to match up. Because I never, when I started this, I never expected those two to be anything more than background characters, and it just, for some reason, it was because outdoor. It was, I think, because I singled them out for for Corey's attention at the beginning of his story, that they became the natural choice for. I should say they became the natural choice when I decided I needed sort of a law enforcement character coming through. Let's put them in unused. Oops, I got the wrong one. Okay, so I don't need Corey. I can just unparent him. I grab Corey instead of Rusty. Shoot. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So now I got the background. We'll call that one B. B. And that should only take a moment. So I've got to make sure that like their clothing matches up with the particular point in the scene. So I have to go back. So it was like you have to dig up this page because the break-in at the kids' apartment happens at the same or almost the same time as the break-in at Tyler's apartment. So the detectives are basically going from one apartment to the other to answer the call. They've got to be wearing the same clothes in both stories. So it's whether they went to Tyler's place first and then to the kids, or to the kids' place first and then over here. And where it becomes difficult is like with the main characters, Tyler, with like Tyler, Rusty, Elliot, Corey, all the main characters, the central characters. I'll usually sort of create I'll texture a whole bunch of basic clothing options, put them in a group, and then reload them into whatever scene I'm using so that I can just like quickly change their outfits and keep them matched. But it's when I get these characters like these detectives where I never intended to um, use them as more than background. The only actual outfits I have saved for them is their gym attire. So every time I pop these guys into a new scene, I sort of basically end up doing their outfits from scratch. Well, there's the picture. Okay, so now let's go file open. Which you'd think I would like just take the 2 seconds to make the basic outfits and solve that problem, but nope, I don't. And then I just get frustrated and and I have another reason to complain and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so the blur in the background, we were going Gaussian blur 5, and that'll work. So okay, um, image. We will flatten that and go file export as. I don't want to overwrite, but I'll take the letter off and we will go yes. Okay, so that's done. Let's discard that and then come in here. And this whole blur the background thing tends to be stylistic. Oh shoot, I opened the wrong one. Damn it. I'm just too busy trying to catch a quick drink here while keeping the laptop from falling off my lap. So let's go open his layers. Okay. And if you've got the eagle eye, if you sort of got an eagle eye, you may notice every once in a while outfit changes don't happen like they should. Oops, okay. Select invert. We will control C and then edit paste as new layer, and then I will delete the original. There we go. So I think it was I think it was in Shrimp at the House Showtime. Where are we? It was what was her name? Ashley. I think basically I used the same outfit on her. I just sort of recolored the sweatshirt and called it a day. But I know there was one point where I forgot to recolor the outfit on a new day. And sometimes if it's glaring, I'll go back and redo the scenes with a different with a different texture. And other times, if it's minor, I'll leave it in. And like the explanation in my mind is that, well, nothing. There's no reason why she might not own the same outfit or two versions of the same outfit in the same color. So, oops. Let's go. You. So in my mind, it's totally conceivable that, say, she might own two identical red sweaters and just happens to wear them on the same day, or sometimes two, if a couple of days passed since the last time we see a character. I can always just in my mind rationalize it as, oh well, it's been a couple of days, so it's not like she's wearing the same outfit 2 days in a row. It's probably been washed. Oh, it didn't. That didn't get copied. Okay, so let's copy that again. Control C. I can always rationalize it as, oh, she washed it and now she's wearing it again, and that sort of thing. But so like honestly though, the very first, I do remember the very first time that happened, and I don't know why it's stuck in my head. It's stuck in my head like this, but it was way back in the third story. Um, when I was working on Shrimp of the House, Claymore Jane, there was it was one of the scenes where Riley shrinks himself down and imagines like his toys come to life, and he's sort of interacting with them in his mind. I ended up forgetting to change his shirt. So it was like about a page and a half before I realized it. And that was a case where it just like wasn't going to work for me, and I went and like redid the whole ended up redoing the pages, the like page and a half to give him a different colored shirt. Now, let's see. Actually, because this is such a good pick, this is such a good look. Actually, let me make sure I didn't. Okay, yeah. See, here's an example of where I previously, where you can tell you previously used a different shot is because it's the same pose, but it's looking at him from a different angle to make it to make it different, so that like if you really, really went and looked, it's a different picture. Um, and actually, I might take this one instead, just so like if you're reading these in order, like two books have passed before you might remember this image. So this is gonna be a case where we borrow an image, and this was from Corey, and this was in book 2. Um, it's this one, right? Yeah, okay, and that's the okay. So 620. So what I'm gonna do is come in here. We're gonna go File, Open as Layers. I want to go into Brody. Oh, freaking moron here. Book 2, and that was my 620. See, I talk to you guys and I lose all focus of what I'm doing, but at least I'm focused on this, and I think that's the point here. We're going to scale that to 33, and we're going to pop that there. Actually, I'm going to wait before I cut this, because I'm going to go here, but I need to know how much space for the word bubble, because I'm going to put it in the middle like with this one, and this one is going to be another compilation. Let's put in the word bubble for reference here. Edit, paste as new layer, transform. We're going to go this way. See, so it's going to be like that, but I'm going to combine a couple of his lines. So, I'm basically, to kind of keep this from being a complete repeat, we're going to trim these two out of it. I'm going to put this. I think I've already used this one twice, but it is such a good line. It sort of feels appropriate with everyone dealing with this stuff. Now I need to put in 2 spaces because I'm going to combine it with, this is page 13, so I'm done with this one. Let's close that. And I need now page 14 from Tyler. 14. Let's zoom in because I'm going to combine it with this one. But not quite. We should do. What is this place coming to? We should do something. The cops are busy, and by the time they get here, the crooks are already gone. That's what I'm going to take. I don't need the rest of it because his concerns over Gabriel are irrelevant in this story. So I don't need the concern for Gabriel. Okay. So that works, right? Resize this bubble. Cut. Select none, and we will paste as new layer. Okay. Merge down. Edit, paste as new layer, select none. Can I? Oh yeah, I think I can get this. Here we go. That's lined up, so we will merge that down. Where's this plate coming to? We should do something. The cops are busy, and by the time they get here, the crooks are already gone. And actually, we should do something. The cops. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to combine this one too. What is this place coming to? We should do something. The cops are busy, and by the time they get here, the crooks are already gone. Whoops. I don't need to move the picture. We can start a neighborhood watch. I know that doesn't exactly. That sentence doesn't exactly flow quite right, but if he's on, if we paint this as he's on one long angry rant, then it doesn't matter if it flows, because I'm sure a lot of the things I've been like going on in these videos don't necessarily flow. So we can kind of excuse that in the same vein that, like, when people say they want to see swearing and obscenities in stories because it's realistic, that's how we talk. Well, this is how we talk too. So I just so the dialogue doesn't need to flow perfectly. So the cops are already gone. Let's add. Here we go. We can start a neighborhood watch. Okay, I'm gonna stretch this a little bit. Let's see if I can get something that looks somewhat square. And probably not. I think because I've got a lot of big words in this is never going to look. Oh, wait, actually, that's decent. Okay. That's decent. But the problem is now is I've ended up giving myself little space on this side. Paste as new layer and select none. Come on. And this is why I didn't want to cut the picture just yet. None. Because what I'm going to do is move him over a little bit more, so that I can move this word bubble over a little bit more. And that's not exactly pointing to his mouth, so normally what I would do is flip this word bubble so it's pointing down, and actually that works. Okay. I was initially going to just flip the tail so that it's a little bit lower instead of here, but that works. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the line there. I'd like to put this "we" on the next line, but all of these words are basically too long to fit it, so I'm just going to excuse that for now. And now, because I've got this picture where I want, I can cut this one. Select none. Okay. Now let's come back here. Um, Let me see. I think 3 panels to go for this page. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to use... Okay, I got this. I'm going to do another reuse, but I'm going to trim it so it looks a little different. This is Tyler Book 1. That was 520. Was it 520? No. Okay, so I want 512 is going to be the one we reuse. So let's go File, Open as Layers. Why do I keep going to Brody's story? I think because Brody is getting left out here. Poor Brody. 12. 12 was the one. So I'm going to open up 12. And I think, tell me I can do this. I don't know. So if we cut Elliot out of the picture. Nah. Undo. Undo. There we go. Okay. If I cut Elliot out of the picture, it won't look so obvious that it's the same picture. And what I want is this one. Control C, edit, paste as new layer. See, and then we throw the word bubble and Elliot almost disappears, so it's not so bad. And let's see, you're talking about being a superhero. Actually, I might not even use this. I think so far I've been talking about the jocks from Friends Forever enough that this line isn't going to work in this story. So Control C. Let's see, where are we? Let's put a bubble there, and we go Control V. Yeah, see, this works. Okay, now we're going to resize this a little bit. Edit, cut, select, none, edit. Oops, trying to get this over 1 pixel. Cut, select, none, edit, paste as new layer. Merge down, nope. Undo. Okay, this got messed up, so we gotta bring it over. Okay, that is, for some reason, that one doesn't look bold. Okay. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, I don't need those 2 panels or this one. But I think this would be interesting. is the joke. Sort of like the punchline is, I think the idea is you have to make this little bit of a crack that he's not wearing the goofy tights. And then, like, here you have the transition scene, only it's going to be with Elliot instead of Tyler. So we're going to take that one. So we're borrowing a lot more pictures than I thought. So this one is 516. I'm not sure if this one is even going to work here. File, open as layers, Tyler, 516. Scale 34 feet. I can cut him off, right? Yeah. See, in a way, this becomes like the clip show of comic books. All you need is like, hey, remember that time when? That's what I'm trying to avoid here, but edit, cut, select none. Okay. And so I'm going to need to open page 15 then from Tyler, page 15. Okay, actually, I'm going to do twofold. So I'm going to take the word bubble, Control C that, and then we come over here and go edit, paste as new layer. I'm going to move the tail, so I'm going to end up moving, yeah, okay, I'm going to end up moving that tail, but we'll do that in a moment. We'll Control C to put that to clipboard, and then come over here and Control V to paste it into the bubble. And now what I need to do is I'm going to end up moving this tail. And there's a couple of ways to do it. I can't seem to get this to look centered. Maybe I'm imagining this. It could be my eyes playing tricks on me here. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay, so what I could do is cut out the tail and move it where I want, and then sort of copy the end of this, flip it over, and cover the resulting hole. Or what I'm going to do is just use the reverse twice. So I'm going to reverse it there, anchor that, and then this should put the tail kind of where I want it. Anchor. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now while that finishes up the scene from that we've seen twice already, the idea is that this has to tie into another one, because at this point in the grand story, so what it has in the overarching story is these two walk into the gym. They have the conversation with Tyler that starts the neighborhood watch idea and gets that story thread going. Presumably, they have their workout session with Corey. We haven't. Yes, here it is. Okay, so they walk in. Have the conversation with Tyler that starts that thread going. Then they go. Then they start their workout session with Corey, and while they're going through their routine, Brody and Russ walk in. This is where Brody brings Russ to the gym. And here you see the kids are working out. There's Corey, and you see he's still in the same tank top that he's wearing. Where are we? Here. So while everybody else's gym clothes are basically the same, his and Francis's are the only gym attire that changed throughout the story. So you see him here in Tyler's story with that gray logo shirt. And then you come in here and you see the gray logo shirt in Brody's story. That's supposed to be the tying factor that tells you this is the same moment. Um, this is where they're lifting, and then they meet, or they run into Brody for the second time because they've already run into each other. But this is the first time they see Russ, and then this is going to tie in to where they follow the kids outside and make their counter offer on the formula. So it's this part of this story, right? The Rusty and Elliot is trying to unite these two elements, but it's again, I don't want to sit and spend 3 pages rehashing what we've already seen. So this last panel here, what I'm going to do is basically this is going to be the transition into them working out. And I think story wise, what I might do, because again, the original intention when I started this page was that I was just going to condense all of this into basically 2 pages and then move on. The idea is you sort of get that time because it's like, again, I'm like at the point where I really don't want this to be a clip book. I don't want to spend a lot of time rehashing stuff you've already seen, but the details need to be there to keep these stories tied together. But kind of talking with you guys and going through this page, and this is where the details of a story kind of tend to ebb and flow as I work on this. But I think what I might end up doing is transition this page from this conversation to these into their workout session. And page 17, let me save this just to so nothing happens. But so this is page 16. So page 17, I think, might end up being like I don't know if you want to call it like the money shot, the money scene, where it's just a gratuitous page of them working out. You see them like working the muscle, that sort of thing, and then come into page 18, where Brody and Russ come in. Yeah, that's what it'll do. So now, after we've just given you three reused shots, or was it four? I don't know. No, it was three. Okay, you got three reused shots. Now I'm going to give you another original shot. So what the heck? Okay, now let's bring everything back. Rusty and Elliot. There we go. Unparent. And where are we? Complex. Building gym doors. This is the gym outer, right? Industrial door A. And we delete that key. We'll close the door. Okay. This is the point at which Tyler left, so Tyler can. Let's collapse. Collapse all. So Tyler can go into the unused folder. And I think we'll transition with Corey because we really haven't seen Corey. Um, I was hoping I could avoid um, another layered image, but I think since this is going to be the bottom right corner, he's got to be looking to the left, so I can't avoid the exterior. Um, so complex, let's blank out the outdoor, and this is going to be number 25A, and we will render that. While we're doing that, let's go into this one, and let's start adding this black border that we've been neglecting throughout. Layer to image size. Cut that one, edit, cut, edit, whoops, edit, paste as new layer. Select invert, shrink, invert, edit, cut, merge that down. Layer to image size, cut, edit, paste as new layer. Select invert, shrink, okay, select invert, edit, cut, and we merge this one down. This is going to be layer to image size, cut, edit, paste as new layer. Select invert, shrink, invert, edit, whoops, cut. Merge this down. Image size, select, cut, paste as new layer. invert, edit, cut. And oh, okay. Invert. Okay, select invert, edit, cut, and select none so we can see this and merge down. Okay. So I think I've said it in a previous video way back in Shrimp when I was doing Showtime. That the borders become a stylistic decision. So I mean, if any of you like decide you want to try and take up your comic book, nothing says like you have to do it. It's at the same time, nothing says that these dividing lines have to be white, that they have to be straight. Um, I think with a couple of the Shrimp of the House storylines, I sort of tinted them different colors to indicate focus on different characters. Another stylistic choice. Something I've toyed with that I've never in my head. Something I've toyed with in my head that I've never actually. Um, well, I can't say that, but to an extent, something I've never really tried was putting a background image under all of this and letting the background image serve as the dividing lines. Oh, and I'm going to sneeze. Oh, gosh. I'm going to sneeze here, so, yeah, okay. Um, I mean, I've frequently done pages where I'll put a full-sized image and then insert small images over it, but I've never really used an image strictly as the dividing lines. That's something like I'd like to experiment with sometime. And here's the layer. It's so you notice this little thing here. This I've got lights in the scene, and I've got 4 distant lights, and they're set at 45. They're offset by 45 degrees on the y axis. They're not front, back, right, left. It's 45 degrees, negative 45, 135, and negative 135. And because a lot of the elements in the scenes are set with a glossy layer, sometimes you get the light you get sort of the light focusing on a point in the scene. I'm going to put this picture together to see if this gets cut out. Because there's no point in re-rendering this to fix that if this is going to get cut off the page anyway. But I think I might end up having to fix it, but we'll see. If it comes that I do end up re-rendering this, the fix is I'll just rotate the lights, and it'll put that little reflection somewhere off camera. I think here. Oh, this one. Okay. Actually, no. Let's put that in the unused character. And then I gotta put Corey in the unused character. This in the unused character. And actually, I gotta find furniture. No. Oh, shoot, furniture. Okay, so I can't do furniture. I have to do each section. And I've got to put Corey's bedroom on, because over here is Corey's bedroom. See, the furniture pops in, you can see that. If by some chance that makes it in the image, that'll bug me. So now we've got picture B. B, render. And you know, while I'm waiting for that to render, I'm actually going to check this out. So let's pop this in. Layer, scale, 34. Okay, yeah, see this, it's not going to get cut out. It's going to be right there. Let's see, here's where. Yeah, okay, and that little artifact is there, so I'm going to re-render this. On the other hand, there's another possibility too, is because I'm going to have this space here. I could put his word bubble here and maybe hide that, but I think the word bubble is going to end up being up here, and this isn't going to get hidden. You know, that's the other thing. Sometimes if you've got a flaw in the image, you can hide it with a word bubble, or you can hide it, you know, or if it makes it off panel, you don't have to worry about it. But this is going to be one of those things that I end up redoing. Okay, so let's save that so I can work on that. Okay, unused character. We bring Corey and these out. Unparent. And then I've got to go to complex. Let's put the building back. I'm going to take off Corey. And actually, I don't need to take Francis's bedroom off. The living room. Actually, no, the living room isn't going to be in that shot, so I can leave that. Now outdoors. See, if you look really close over here, you can see this, whatever this is part of the living room, but that's going to get cut off. We know the cutoff is about here. So everything over here gets cut from this image. So I'm going to renumber this to A and render that. And while we're doing that, I have to come over here and let's delete A. There. And I might as well move these into there. Okay. And then I don't need this anymore, so let's close that. Let's go File, Open. And there's the background. And I can go Filter, Blur, Gaussian. Why do I keep calling it Gaussian? Okay, so 5. And there's my blurred. Okay. And I'm going to leave this for now because it'll be a good guide. Transform this way. And because I said this would be a good place for a word bubble, I'm going to keep the word bubble here instead of bringing it under. And before I go deciding on this line, let me make sure. Okay, they are in fact doing leg day, so I can make the standard comment about leg day. I don't know why leg day has become sort of a favorite for, but whoops. I guess you guys are ready for leg day. We're gonna have the verbal pause because again he's dealing with his missing brother. Francis is missing at this point, so we sort of want him to act a little distracted, so his thoughts aren't completely there. Oops. Okay. So let's go. Cut, select, none, edit, new layer. Yes, yes. Edit, cut, select, none, edit. There we go. Actually, bring this in just a little. Okay. One thing I've been noticing from book to book, and it's been like it's been a long time coming. It hasn't been a slight thing. Is that sort of as I get on this idea of like being afraid that you won't actually be able to read the text on, let's say, if you're reading it on a Kindle or something, even with sort of the magnified panel view. It was a period where I was kind of slowly making the text bigger, and I think inadvertently making sort of the bubbles with more space around the text, kind of increasing the amount of white space. So it's been one of the things I've been trying to do in the last couple of stories is kind of rein in that white space and sort of making the space this sort of like the undefined border, if you will, between the text and the actual black border of the word bubble. I've been trying to rein that in a little bit. And sort of where the text font size has been getting. Oh, shoot. I freaking A. I rendered that and forgot to rotate the. God. See, this is. Okay. So, what I was talking about is I'll select my light group. These are the lights that light the scene. So, if I turn this off, there go the lights. So, the lights come back on. I'll come into parameters, and I'm just going to rotate this on the y-axis by 45 degrees. And as you see, sort of the lighting shifts. I don't think you're really going to notice that in the image, but you won't have that sort of reflection on the window. But anyways, I'm sort of using a text size of 10 with the particular font. And, it's, and I'm probably talking about like going back to like Little Bro and My Twin No More. It's been almost like 2 years since Little Bro was since I worked on Little Bro. Yeah, see, there's no reflection there. And if you're just looking at this picture, you don't even notice that the lighting direction is different. But like going back to the Little Bro and My Twin No More days, like the text sort of crept up to the 11, and then I think I was using 12, a font size of 12 at one point. So it's which gives you like big words to see on the picture, but at the same time, it means I can put less words into a panel. I have less space for words if they're bigger. So I've been kind of like in the last several books, and I think I've been doing it consistently throughout this series, like the previous three installments of the Iron Brotherhood story, is to bring the font size back down to 10 and just stick with that. Um, um, let's see. And the weird thing is, like, I'm going through all this trouble with this picture, and you're probably not even going to notice that little artifact. But I've noticed it, and it's going to bug me, and I'm sure now that I've said something to you, you're probably going to notice it. I don't know if it'll bug you, but I mean, it's a little different than you see the light shining off the countertop here. It's a little different because the light is sort of spread out and not concentrated. It almost, like over here, it almost looks like you're pointing a flashlight at the wall or something. Whereas here, it kind of comes across as a genuine reflection of the light. So that one doesn't bother me so much. And the only problem with doing this, though, is that the windows over here are empty. So whereas like the windows over here should be reflecting the exterior background, that's not going to show. But I think it's again, you're probably not going to notice it missing from the mirrors as you would from. There's my picture. So let's see. So no. Okay. So no. Oh, actually, okay. So there's no weird artifact here, and actually over here on the counter, that light is gone too. So we're gonna save. And now finally we're going to come over here and go File, Open as Layers, and this was A. See, all that was just for nothing. No, it wasn't for nothing. But we're going to go Image, Flatten, File, Export As, and then Enter, Export. Now I can close that. Discard changes. Let's Um, where is this layer? This one? Okay. I will delete that and file open as layers. Let's open the layer we just composited. And scale 34. And bring you down. See, the question is, and two, it's always the compromise between like how much space do I have for a picture and what do I want to show. So in some of these closer pictures, I end up like cutting off arms and shoulders and things because the face is really what's important. Or sometimes you get like the face and chest shot for something that's like the slight money shot. But here, where I've got the space to play around, we're going to bring Corey fully into the picture. So for all you looking for money shots, you you don't just get face and chest; you get like arms as well. You get the big biceps and triceps. And let's see, cut. Okay, so this has no transparency, so we're going to go invert. And I want to control C to copy that, and we will paste as new layer. Delete the old. Delete. There we go. And now we will go layer to image size. Let's fuzzy select, edit, cut. Select, invert, select, shrink, okay. Select, invert, edit, cut, and select none. Merge that down. Okay, so let's file and save. This is page 16. Now I will flatten the image and go file, export. And this is going to save as JPEG, as PNG because we've been saving the other ones as PNG. So we've got to change this to JPEG. And we go export. And as you can see, it probably took about as long to do that one page with half of it being reused shots as it does to create a page with completely original shots. Because I've been doing composites. Oh, see, and I focused on it. So, wow. Okay. So, and it's again, here's what you're probably not going to notice is this picture is not, I don't have the exterior blurred in this picture, but you're probably not going to notice that. Except that I just pointed it out to you. So you probably will. But so we have, like, whereas the previous two times we've seen this scene, the camera's always been focused squarely on him. But in this book, because it's from the kid's point of view, we're basically getting Elliot's view as he walks into this. And Tyler says, some skinny little jerk broke into my apartment yesterday. And of course, he cuts in with, maybe it's the same guy who broke into my place. What is this place coming to? We should do something. The cops are busy, and by the time they get here, the crooks are already gone. We can start a neighborhood watch. You're talking about being a superhero. How would you like that, new kid? We could run around beating up the bad guys. I guess, but there's no way I'm wearing goofy tights. Well, I guess you guys are ready for leg day? Yeah, that's not a, it's like trimming all this down, like two and a half pages of text down to like 5, 6. It works, but this transition doesn't. It just needs one or two words. Maybe he should say, so I guess you guys are ready for leg day. Maybe that's it. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna come in here. Control Z will go backwards. Okay, so we're going to move that verbal pause here. So, I guess you guys are ready for leg day? Hold that. And I almost think he should say leg day then. So, I guess you guys are ready for leg day then. Yeah, okay, that works. That works for me. Which means we're going to have to... Okay. And you know what? Just that one little change moved the word bubble over that little, over that little spot I spent all that time getting rid of. Oh well. It's worth it. Let's see. Merge down. Okay. Control C. Edit. Paste as new layer. Let's select none so I can see it overlap. Okay. Merge that down, and then this is going to come up, I think, just not over. Does that look? It's like my eyes. I look at this so much that I can't even tell half the time. Okay, so that's good. Whoops. I want to zoom in. Actually, I want to get it over. Okay. So we save that image, flatten, and file export to page 16. And that's that. So I guess you guys are ready for leg day then? That seems to be a common theme, is that they always like make a big deal out of leg day. But there it is. There's page 16. I hope you got something out of that. I hope when you get to reading this story, you don't feel so ripped off that that this story has become a clip story. But basically, what I want to do is kind of rush through the same plot points that we've seen for 3 stories now, and kind of move this one beyond. Maybe, I think this one's going to kind of get outside the previous 3. But, we'll see how that plays out as I go on. But anyway, I thank you, and I'll see you next time.